This is Hannibal here from The Hannibal TV on YouTube with a daily wrestling news update. And Richard, I don't know if I can call you Richard or Dick because for some reason you Richard people like to be called that. I like your comment there and I agree with you. As bad as WCW 2000 was, the product of WCW was better and had better ratings. And I saw this before I went live here. So let's take a look at this. In 2000, WCW Monday Nitro's average rating was from a 2 to a 3, with between 2 and 3 million people watching. These were the days where both WWE and WCW could have ratings exceeding a 4. Now let's look at 2025. We can't check Raw's ratings because they're on Netflix, but they've reached the lowest viewership of all time on Raw. And for SmackDown, they were down 34% from last year. But again, take a look. WCW 2000, between 2 and 3 million people watched every week. WWF SmackDown now, they get under that, about 1.47 million viewers. And they only do about a 0.26. Dynamite's even worse than that. They only get about 615,000 average viewers and a 0.13, also down over 100,000 less from last year. And not only that, but AEW wastes money more than any company ever. Nyla Rose, who has not wrestled since November 20th, 2024, apparently makes about $2 million a year. They won't release Nyla Rose. I'll be honest, that person has had a job for like 6 years and there's nothing special. Nothing special at all. But apparently that company literally burns money. Apparently because of their TV deal, which for some reason they're making like 130,000 a year from TV. This is their first year where they're going to be profitable in 6 years, though. Will they be profitable in the future? Who knows? But Meltzer's claiming, even though they burn money and their attendance and viewership is lower than ever, they're actually going to have a profitable year for 2025. Now, I'd love to see the actual breakdown of that because they have pay-per-views that are like 5 to 8 hours. Yes, they have had an 8-hour long pay-per-view. You know how much those cost to put on? You know how much advertising costs? You know how much buildings cost to rent unless you're WWE and get buildings free half the time? But I would actually like to see the breakdown. But it's just insane to pay this person $2 million a year to sit at home is beyond me. I mean, they remember when they had Miro and Aleister Black in AEW, paying them millions and never used them either. It's crazy. And they let them go to WWE without ever really having any losses. Benjamin and Lashley haven't lost, by the way, yet in AEW, from what I understand. TNA is interested in former AEW wrestler Bear Bronson, who they didn't renew his contract. I don't know much about him, but apparently TNA is interested in him. Ricky Morton from Juggalo Championship Wrestling is battling pneumonia. His son, Kerry Morton, is one of the feature stars there. By the way, people keep asking me because I do collaborate with them. Would I wrestle for JCW? Yes. Why they don't use me, I really don't know. That's a question for Vince Russo and Violent J. I am on Facebook. If you want to send me a personal message, or greatnorthwrestling@gmail.com. Yeah, AEW. Yeah, someone said the other day, you're just jealous of these people sitting at home making millions a year. Yes, I am jealous. Not only am I jealous because I've had to work 2 or 3 jobs most of my life to make the living to have the kind of life that I want to live, but I've paid my dues in wrestling since 2001. And it is annoying when you see people that have paid very little dues get the opportunities. By the way, WWE recently hired some college athletes on training contracts, some more track stars and gymnasts. And I'm serious. They're they're hoping these college track stars and gymnasts are going to be the next Hulk Hogan. Grandma, yeah, there is going to be a bunch of interviews coming up in December. I don't know the headbangers, but Colonel Parker would be a good one to have back. What does everyone think about Bret Hart? He recently did a live show accusing Shawn Michaels of possibly having a relationship with Vince McMahon. He would not be the first to accuse him of that. Some people have also accused him of some other office people, but who knows? But Bret saying it, I mean, that has more credibility than Marty Jannetty saying it, for instance. Who, if Marty's lips are moving, he's lying. Someone says, yeah, the Von Erich brothers. I mean, I like them, but they hired Kevin Von Erich to a contract in July. Kevin Von Erich's under a full-time contract. They have not used him since July. They have not even used the Von Erich brothers since July. Meltzer definitely is definitely a AEW lover. No doubt he's biased towards AEW. I was hearing it in particular on his podcast today. He sticks up for them a lot. Whatever. I think that they waste ridiculous amounts of money because Tony Khan was bragging last week that he's been on TBS and TNT longer than WCW was, apparently. Nitro Dynamite's been on better, but here's the difference. When Nitro was on, everyone was talking about Nitro. Go on the street and ask 100 people what AEW is. Very few people are going to know what the hell AEW is. And Nitro was awesome overall. And I want AEW to be better, but to act like AEW is better than WCW is absolutely ridiculous. And he's bragging that he was booking it the whole time. His dad's a freaking billionaire. He can do whatever the hell he wants. Maybe he should not do the soccer job and the football job and focus on AEW, and it would be better. That's the honest to God truth. How can you not have running a major wrestling company as your only job? How can you also have NFL and major league soccer jobs on top of that? Yeah, Colonel Parker is a legend in many ways. Yeah, WCW was a totally different world. I completely agree. I completely agree with you too, Demon. Like there's some things where I find Tony Khan interesting, but there's other things when he acts like AEW is more successful than WCW. That's just ridiculous. Demolition Axe and Smash supposedly signed 5-year Legends contract with WWE, so it's only a matter of time before they're in there. SA Rio Sunday Night Heat did have better ratings than today's wrestling, 100%. See, Thomas, AEW has the minds back there, but it's not going to change. Even Meltzer, who's a massive AEW supporter, he says it himself. It's not going to change. It's Tony Khan's dad's funding it. Tony Khan likes being the booker. He likes controlling everything. He finds it fun. It's just not going to change. It's just the way it's going to be. We have to accept it. We can hope other options eventually come out, or we can tune out. So I'm going to tune out for the night too. But do I think Crush will go into the Hall of Fame? I don't know. I don't know. I'm in the same page as you anytime, any place, anywhere. I cannot watch more than 60 seconds of AEW either. It is a sinking ship. They've had many crowds under 1,000 this year, and they're starting off January 2026. First of all, they're finishing off December in the Hammerstein Ballroom, a small venue. This is a company that at one point was selling out 18,000 seats arenas. They're finishing the company in the small Hammerstein Ballroom. Good atmosphere, but that's where ECW used to go, which was run by not a multi-billionaire. That was run by passion. It was gritty. AEW is anything but gritty. They have some good wrestlers, but their wrestlers are spoiled. Like sitting at home making millions, that you're spoiled, but enjoy it. If he wants to waste money, that's fine. Apparently there's 192 wrestlers under contract with AEW for 4 hours of programming a week. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And what I was going to say, not only are they ending it bad in the Hammerstein Ballroom, they're starting it in like a small ballroom in Chicago in January 2026. A place that gets like 700 fans last time that they went to it. So they're going to smaller and smaller venues because they can't draw. But even WWE, I was watching a Honky Tonk Man interview today where there used to be three different crews running as many as 7 times a week. Each crew running every night. That's how big the demand to watch wrestling was. Now there's 2 crews in WWE, Raw and SmackDown, and they only do TV. There's 2 shows a week, maybe 3 if there's a pay-per-view. AEW only has 1 or 2 shows a week because a lot of the time they tape Collision and Dynamite on the same show. So no, there's hardly any house shows. Do more late night chats. We'll do, Grandma Daisy. How do you like my lovely sweater here that I stole from someone? Just kidding. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for your comments.